This is Father Nicholas Grace, missionary in Tipperary, Ireland, sharing with you on this 11th of July the Gospel according to Matthew, chapter 10, verses 7 through to 15. Jesus said to his apostles, "As you go, make this proclamation: the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Cure the sick, raise the dead, cleanse the lepers, drive out demons. Without cost you have received, without cost you are to give. Do not take gold or silver or copper for your belts, no sack for the journey, or a second tunic, or sandals, or walking stick. The laborer deserves his keep. Whatever town or village you enter, look for a worthy person in it, and stay there until you leave. As you enter a house, wish it peace. If the house is worthy, let your peace come upon it. If not, let your peace return to you. Whoever will not receive you or listen to your words, go outside that house or town and shake the dust from your feet. Amen, I say to you, it will be more tolerable for the land of Sodom and Gomorrah on the day of judgment than for that town." The Gospel of the Lord. Amen, I say to you, it will be more tolerable for the land of Sodom and Gomorrah on the day of judgment than for that town. What town? Any town where the apostles will be sent, where they will preach and teach and work wonders, where the gospel will be proclaimed. Jesus himself proclaimed something very similar in Capernaum, where he had carried out much of his ministry. Disgusted was he at the lack of response in the people, in spite of all the wonderful things they had seen and heard. There's a spiritual principle here that can be taught today, that can be applicable in this situation, and it's this: the more that we have received from the Lord, the more we must give of it to others. The more knowledge of Jesus Christ that we have, the more responsibility do we incur. We are Christians. We have, most of us listening, received formation, received the sacraments, and been born into and nourished by a generational faith. Ergo, there is much onus on us. Onus for what? Onus to respond. The gospel, which we have received and heard and had explained to us over and over again, behooves a radical response, which, taking the words and doctrine of my favorite Father Faber, implies a struggle. Ask yourself, is my religious life a struggle? Do I feel it to be so? What am I struggling against? Do I see the enemy? Do I feel the weight of opposition? Or rather, am I in one of those delusions of easy devotion and soft, unmortified effeminacy? If I'm not fighting, it is because I'm already conquered. And surely I can hardly be fighting and not know it. Scary question, certainly. But more certain is that a good scare now and again is very healthy. So, what does our struggle consist of? Certainly 5 things. Positive fighting, actual battle. Second, taking pains, pitching tents, cleaning arms, gathering fuel, surveying the land. Third, forced marches. If I ask you if you are fighting and you respond, "No, but I do have sore feet," I'll be content. At least you're on the move. Fourth, continual strain that you feel. If we feel no differently on the battlefield than we do in the hayfield, if we feel no differently at peacetime than we do at wartime, then we come up short of the spiritual mark, surely. And fifth, there's a definite enemy. But you will ask, and it's a fair question to ask, who are the enemies that we must come up against? There are at least 6. First, sin. particularly mortal sin, that we're fighting to get it out of our lives, and even venial sin. Second, the enemy of temptations. Robustness of temptations is, to quote Father Faber, often in proportion to our growth in grace. And the choicest temptations are often kept till last. One day we will have to come against the Praetorians, the emperor's bodyguard. Only the emperor is the devil. Third struggle, trials. Also, these become more difficult as we advance. Fourth, the struggle against the changes of our own faults. Listen carefully. With age, with changes in life circumstances, there can be changes of our faults. Something we neglect that we need to observe that we can now neglect. Sometimes there's a change, and so we have to move the focus to something else. Maybe if you move into a new job, there will be people testing your patience that people never tested before. And you will see that, hey, now I need to work on patience. And so on and so forth. Fifth, teasing imperfections that we just can't seem to conquer. We must always be struggling against these. Otherwise. Sixth, and finally, the struggle against over-familiarity with prayer, with the sacraments, and with the temptations themselves. If we are remiss in repelling these things, if we are remiss in this struggle, well, how is it going to end for us? Like Sodom and Gomorrah? Let it never be said. All in all, there are at least 6 fields of battle, all of which we need to be aware. If we are to respond to Jesus Christ, if we are to respond to the gospel message, if we are through this life of ours, live in a holy manner, we must, as Father Faber says, be continually in the struggle. May Mary, Mother Immaculate, pray and intercede for us in this our holy endeavour.
Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed hearing the gospel and homily, I invite you to share it with someone you know who may also find it rewarding, and also to subscribe to the Catholic Voice channel. Please see in the description below if you would like to receive a text message for each daily gospel and homily. Please also keep our missionary priests throughout the world in your prayers. Thank you, and God bless.